Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce, for the last time, the commanding officer of NAVSUP Fleet Logistics Center, Sigonella, Captain Douglas S. MacKenzie.
All right, thanks, Ed. I see I've got a bottle of water down here, so I'm going to make good use of that right now. What time does the hangar close, Punch? Is it like 1600? Okay. And one last thing I got to get ready to do here, and that's never leave without these anymore. Okay. Well, good morning. Buongiorno, buenos dias, and calimara. Did I get that right, George? Thanks. Hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for coming and joining in the ceremony today. As I was sitting up here and looking out, I see we've had dignitaries from the Italian Navy and Air Force, and lots of friends here. And then, of course, the community, the NAVSUP team. I know every single one of you personally, so this is really special for us. And again, I'm thankful for this opportunity. Admiral Stamatopoulos, I want to offer a special thank you to you, sir, for making the trip from Washington, D.C. all the way out here to Sicily to preside over our ceremony. Sir, we are honored by your presence, and it speaks volumes about how you lead and how much you are invested in your command and in your commanders and in your people. Carol and I want to thank you personally for giving us this amazing opportunity of a lifetime, and words can't say what it meant to gain your confidence, and I'm thankful for your trust and support as we endured some of the most significant challenges over this last 2 years. I followed your lead and your example to the best of my ability and have grown through this experience and hope to continue so that I may pay it forward. Thank you, sir. Admiral Collins, sir, thank you as well for making the trip down from Napoli today and for your trust and your confidence and your steady leadership. While I got to know you briefly when I was the N4 and you were the installation CO in Suda Bay, never did I imagine at that time that our paths would cross again. I've learned much from watching you lead, and I'm really grateful that you pulled me into your inner leadership circle and you truly made FLC feel like a part of the Region family. I can only hope that we'll work together again someday, and it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you, sir. Thank you. To Admiral Hayden and Marguerite, thank you for coming today as well. Sir, I know you have so many things that are spinning on your plate right now, including a big exercise with UCOM and your team up in Naples. Our time together has been short, but I am grateful from it and I learned from it. And from your passion to improve the Fleet N4 and to set the theater for logistics. NAVSUP FLC Sigonella will continue to rely on you and your team for advocacy and resourcing as we continue to normalize our operations at Site Crombie and at other places further north up into the Arctic as you direct. I know you'll be there for Shannon and the team, and I thank you in advance, sir. Thanks for being here. So not with us today, but important, no doubt, are the two other Navy Supply Corps flag officers who've been instrumental in FLC Sigonella's success. And they are Rear Admiral Duke Hines, the UCOM J4, and Rear Admiral George Bresnahan, who is the AFRICOM J4. Thank you both for mentoring me and for enabling direct and open communications with the team here. I'm proud of what NAVSUP FLC Sigonella has contributed to the joint force, and our readiness and capabilities to integrate with and support joint and NATO forces has blossomed under your leadership. I also want to thank our fantastic installation commanding officer and host, Captain Aaron Shoemaker and his wife Lisa, and all of my fellow commanding officers, XOs, CMCs, and senior enlisted leaders. Thanks for joining us here today to celebrate this change of command. A special shout out goes to my wingman and dear friend, Brian Punch Hager, and his wife, Kristen, and his deputy, Remy Lyons, and the entire VP team for sharing this beautiful hangar despite the critical operations and the maintenance that you're engaged in right now. And of course, to my NAVSUP familia and the change of command action officers led by the headquarters Code 430 Log Ops Division, who have done some serious heavy lifting with planning and executing of today's event. Please join me in a warm round of applause to recognize those who volunteered and worked so hard to support today's events. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Navy band who came all the way down from Napoli to knock a few things out. I stopped briefly by to chat with them, and thank you. It's really a pleasure and an honor to have you guys joining today, and to our choir. Fantastic musical support and a great way to cap off almost 6 years here in the theater. Thank you. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna get right after it. So, flowers. The first 2 sets, please. I want to recognize my parents and my in-laws who traveled from the US and from Sweden to be here to celebrate today's time-honored tradition with us. Mom, you brought me into this world, and you raised me to be respectful and loving and hardworking and many other things too. I wouldn't be here on the stage if it wasn't for you. And you and Art continue to be a wonderful example of love and support for all of us today. You're simply the best parents that this big old kid could ever dream for. And you know I'll be forever grateful for your love and your support. Modern Harold, otherwise known in my Swedish family as Mormor and Morfar. You've taken me to be your son, and I feel as if it's always been that way since the day that we met. Thank you for your love and support as well, and for raising such an amazing daughter, Carolina. Carol and the boys are really looking forward to spending some time with you in Sweden this summer as I get things set up at the Pentagon and try to find a house and find a car and receive some household goods and all those other great things that we do as military families. So I know they're excited about that, right, boys? Thumbs up. And thank you for having them and getting us through this time. All right, second set of flowers. Just one. Carolina, love bug. The sun rises and sets in your eyes. And I could not have possibly achieved any of this without you. You have the hardest job in the universe, and every woman here who has children and a family knows it, and I think everybody else knows it too. As mom and admiral of the MacKenzie household, including caring for our 3 sons, and then the hardest one of all, me. I appreciate your frequent listening, your advice, but most of all, I will definitely miss saying, we live in Italy.
Every day.
Maybe someday we'll say it again, who knows? But you ran the show, coordinating with my work schedule, with the kids' schedules, the spouses of friends, events, the friends. You've played nurse, travel coordinator, chef, financial manager, and so on and so on. You simply made it all work, driving the kids to school, medical appointments, offering assistance to support other spouses and those in need, planning wine tasting events and family trips, managing all of our finances, our rental properties, keeping friends and family updated, and supporting me most of all through some pretty challenging times and enabling me to keep my focus so that I could deliver to my team and to the fleet. Thank you. I could never repay you back enough, but I know you know that I'll offer you my unconditional love forever. All right, now I need some water. Okay. All right. Proffer, if you can bring the flags, please. All right. To Nicholas and Magnus, and to Braden, who is online with us today. Hey, buddy, I hope you're doing good. Nick, Mag, and Braden, I love you guys, and I'm beyond thankful for your understanding for all the time that I've missed. But we did make the best of the time we had with some pretty awesome trips, traveling around Europe as a family, seeing new countries, doing new sports, participating in scouting, riding go-karts at the mall, eating yummy Italian food and sushi, which I never knew was so big in Italy, but it is really big here. So, Nicholas, you have that new love. And just chilling out sometimes and playing Minecraft or Zelda and just hanging out with Papa. Being a military kid is not easy, but you guys really made it seem like it wasn't so bad at all. Of course, Mama has much to do with that, and I hope you will always cherish these flags that Papa is going to present to you today, which were flown over Naval Support Activity in Naples and Naval Air Station in Sigonella, which are the two places that our family has lived for almost 6 years. I love you, and I can't wait to see what our next adventure in Virginia will bring us. Thank you. I also want to recognize my brother Ken and sister Jen and their families for their love and support. They are back in the States, and I'm sure they're watching on Facebook, or they will when they wake up tomorrow morning. On my mother's side, my cousin Captain Eric Stark, retired. His father, my uncle, Captain Larry Stark, and Aunt Kathy, who is no doubt watching on Facebook Live. And on my father's side, my uncle, Captain Jack Renard, and Aunt Donna, who are also back in the States. In addition to these successful naval officers, I want to briefly talk about Aunt Donna's father, Lieutenant Commander George K. MacKenzie, but Com really covered a lot of that very well. So I will just say that I am enormously proud of my great uncle, George Kenneth. His sword is sitting over on the table right in front of the cake here. He was a U.S. Naval Academy class of 1931, and a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal leader. And at such a young age to command a warship of a submarine, he was a lieutenant commander. And back in the Second World War, especially later in the war, it wasn't uncommon for very young officers to take that level of responsibility. And he led his crew valiantly, and they had a very successful campaign in the Pacific until such time as they were lost at sea, likely at the hands of enemy forces. He has served as an inspiration, but my Uncle Jack, my Uncle Larry, my cousin Eric, what a tremendous family group. They have provided support over the years, mentorship, guidance, and answered a lot of the questions that I had when I was coming up about how to be a better leader and a better officer. And you guys were always there for me, and I thank you. I thank you for your confidence, for instilling in me all of the things that I needed to be successful as a naval officer, and for serving as an example, and for giving me this opportunity and leading me to a life of naval service. So thank you. It's always difficult to capture everything perfectly or to recognize every group or person who has contributed to our team's success. So if I miss you today, please know that I have infinitely more memories and that I'm only limited by the processor that God has given me. And I ask for all of your forgiveness in advance. And technology is ever present in our lives, so it's no exception here. And greetings to all of the folks, family and friends and others who have joined us on Facebook Live today. And thanks to Joe, shout out to my PAO for putting all of this on today, and for all the great work that you and Jenny do to capture our stories and get those out. Thank you, Joe. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a quick shout out to the many mentors whose collective leadership prepared me for this major command opportunity. Each of you gave me the opportunities that enabled me to develop expertise in financial and supply chain logistics support here at the fleet and across Europe and Africa. Special thanks to Admiral Grady, Admiral Franchetti, Admiral Retired Fogo, Admiral Retired Burke, Vice Admiral Black, Vice Admiral Ishii, Rear Admiral Gray, Rear Admiral Gumbleton, Rear Admiral English, Rear Admiral Chase, Rear Admiral Jones, Rear Admiral Bresnahan, Brigadier General Annabale, Miss Juliet Baylor, Mr. Kurt Wendelkin, Captain Pete Eltringham, Captain Joe Mahan, and Captain Randy Baker. There are countless others, officers, chiefs, non-commissioned officers, and civilians, but you can see that I've been blessed to work directly for the best in our business, and their leadership, mentoring, and personal examples are the things that I've folded into my toolkit and have served me well in this command tour, and I thank you all. I also want to share praises for our amazing community. You really are the secret ingredient and why this experience has been so rewarding. Specifically to Pastor Dave Hamilton, who's with us here today, and the whole church family at the New Hope Church who have supported us and nourished our minds and our souls throughout this challenging tour. I also want to give a shout out to the Dodea School and to the Baby Jungle School in Mota, specifically Niklas' teacher, Amber Kubaleski, and to Magnus's teacher, Maestra Nina, who I think is here with us today. Okay, great. You are amazing educators and empaths, ensuring that our kids have wonderful and enriching school experiences. From the Scoutmasters to the coaches, MWR, and I saw Tom come in here, our Navy Exchange Regional Director, and the whole NEX team who works seamlessly and hand in hand with the community to provide the best level of support. Thank you so much for that. Also, I want to give a shout out to our law enforcement, both Italian, American, and some civilian folks, and our firefighters. We can't say enough to thank the entire community for everything. Grazie mille per tutti. Finally, I want to recognize the tribe on Hillis Drive, our fellow COs who've been extended members, who don't live on Hillis Drive, but are extended members of Team Hillis. From frequent gatherings on the street to small favors and candid advice, we'll forever be grateful for the family support and the awesome vibe on the street. And Aaron, you've had quite a bit to do with really setting that, so thank you. And Lisa, thank you. We'll miss you all as we leave this paradise, but we are comforted knowing that it isn't goodbye, but a see you later. And what a blessing to have Shannon and Kim join the Hillis Drive team. They're going to be a great addition. To the country of Italy and my dear Italian friends, my new family, thank you so much for providing the most amazing experiences for Caro and the boys and I over these past 6 years. We've traveled across this historic land and shared in many of the joys, the history. We've fallen in love with the food, the wine. We built so many lasting friendships and memories, but it's really all about the people. Pippo, Khadija, Gaetano and Angela, Franco and Gilda, Maria Teresa and Rafe, and there are many, many others. We love you, and we are blessed to have shared time on this earth with you. Thank you so much for your support, your friendship, and your love, and I can't wait to rejoin you someday here in Italy for some more adventures. And if I could please over to my assistant, Sam.
Ok. All'Italia, ai miei cari amici italiani, la mia nuova famiglia. Vi ringrazio dal profondo del cuore per aver donato a me, a Carolina e ai ragazzi l'esperienza più incredibile di questi ultimi 6 anni. Abbiamo viaggiato attraverso questa terra storica, vissuto ed apprezzato la gente che ne fa parte. Ci siamo innamorati del cibo e naturalmente anche del vino. Abbiamo costruito molte amicizie e ricordi indelebili che custodirò per sempre nel mio cuore. Pippo e Khadija, Gaetano ed Angela, Franco e Gilda, Maria Teresa e Raffi e tanti altri. Voi ne fate parte. Vi vogliamo bene e ci riteniamo molto fortunati per tutto il tempo condiviso e trascorso in vostra compagnia. Grazie per il vostro continuo sostegno, per la vostra amicizia e per tutto l'amore che ci avete dimostrato. Non vediamo l'ora di riunirci ancora una volta in Italia, in vostra compagnia, per trascorrere altre 1000 avventure insieme. Grazie.
Thank you, Sam. All right, to the command, I have a long list of things to reminisce about. I'm gonna move through this quickly, though, because at the end of the day, all of the work that we've done, and Admiral Stam covered a lot of that in his speech. We have nothing was me. Everything was you guys, and I will miss dearly working with you and seeing the amazing creativity, the energy that you brought to the table, and the things that you did to expand U.S. naval logistics capabilities in the high north, outside of the Mediterranean. That has been a journey, and you continue from Tromsø to Buda to Trondheim, across the Atlantic to Keflavik, and into the UK and South, and then all the work in the Baltic, and that will continue this year with Baltops. It has been fantastic, and that work is you guys. You do the work. You build the relationships. You're the ones that are getting the work done on the ground, where it matters the most, when our ships pull in, when our aircraft land. You're making sure that we have the right established arrangements, agreements, contracts, and that we deliver all of the goods and services that the fleet needs to sustain momentum. I couldn't be more proud. The teamwork with CTF 63, DDSI, Commander, now Captain Select, Gino Dawson, congratulations. All the work with our teams, with the bases, the installation operations at all of our bases across the Med, and my fellow commanding officers at the installations. It's great work that our teams do, and I appreciate all that they do and your leadership. Joint and NATO operations, we really pushed the envelope here. Striking Forces NATO, Captain Puente, Spanish Navy, Lieutenant Colonel Tony McNair, who's a U.S. Marine serving on that staff, that NATO staff. The 21st TSC, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Gum, who used to work for Admiral Stamatopoulos in the UCOM J4. Fantastic teaming. As we continue to work with the Joint Force and our allied partners, we're building capabilities that weren't there before, as most nations will handle logistics individually. But we realize we'll have to do this as a team if we ever have to face off against our near peer in Russia. Punch, for your team up in Kef, I know that we're still on this journey and we don't really know where it's going, but the teaming with Tom Jacobson, with Admiral Bianchi, retired, the CEO of Navy Exchange Command, I really do hope we can deliver the ship store out there to take care of your sailors better. And I'm really proud of all the work and your leadership to look out for your people. It's inspiring. Allies and partners in this theater setting effort, Vice Admiral Andrew Kite, Brigadier General Muddeman, Royal Marines, Vice Admiral Kite is Royal Navy, Captain Alec Parry, Royal Navy, Colonel Morten Andersen from Norway, Commander Senior Grade John Arrow Hansen from Denmark, Vidar Hole and his team who operate out of Tromsø, and countless others who we've worked with so closely to develop these capabilities. The Admiral mentioned the earthquake relief for the earthquake in Turkey, the humanitarian and disaster relief. That was 100% teamwork. DLA was involved, the base operations folks and air operations folks were involved, and 2 installations, both here in Sigonella and Suda Bay in Greece, which involves all of our partners, Italian, Greek, and others. We all worked side by side to deliver humanitarian aid to Turkey, who was ravaged. My team, as the Admiral mentioned, operationalized the headquarters and integrated with fleet, region, and our customers and enhanced the relationships in very deep and meaningful ways. You earned and built trust with our mission partners, and you delivered on every demand, always. I'll miss my quad. Mr. Bond Cabling, my executive director with over 54 years of service in uniform and as a civilian. I call him the professor. There's no better guy to have in your corner. I'm gonna miss you, Bong. Lots of hard work that goes on across the organization in operations with Andy and the whole ops team, Gunny, our sailors, our Marines, our civilians. You guys are the top priority. Samantha, my EA, my executive assistant, you are the glue that keeps this all together. And I will miss you. I will miss having coffee and you coming into the office and trying your best to break off meetings so that I can stay on track. Sorry that I failed you in that regard, but you gave it your best effort. You are a wonderful and very professional person, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you from Caro and I. We really appreciate everything. I'll miss my reserve CO. Steve, I think you're out there. Captain Steve Holbrook, Purple Crayons, building the bench. You were at my side all the way. Unmatched support from any reserve CO out there in the Navy. You were phenomenal. Steve is the guy who brought all the forces in from the States that plussed us up so I could take care of all the ships that were surging into the theater after the Russian aggression in Ukraine. I'll miss all of you, the headquarters directors, my site directors. You guys are like OICs now, but you operate like commanders. Commander Phillips, Commander Harmony, Commander Clarida, Commander Lessner, and Mr. Day, you guys are out there at the point of delivery to the customer, and I can't say enough about your professionalism, and thank you. Proffer, can you bring another bouquet of flowers over for my wife? Shannon and Kim, God has prepared you for this moment. And Caro and I have been so blessed to have had this time here with the team and to have had this transition with you, but we are ready to hand over the torch. I will watch you both with pride and confidence and keep you in my thoughts and prayers as you lead this incredible team and their families to new heights. And should deterrence fail, I am 100% confident that you will make our enemies realize very quickly the error in their judgment. You will be providing that strategic depth to the fleet. Team, I leave you with just a few final thoughts, NAVSUP. Focus on the fleet and the region. It's why we're here. As Admiral Munch says, only invest effort in things that generate war-fighting advantage. Continue on our journey to operationalize this command. Always strive to improve our organizational competency. We must be ready to operate today at the speed of war. Connect your dot, as Admiral Franchetti said, understanding how you as an individual are part of a larger team and part of a larger mission, and take care of each other and continue to be the FLC that the Navy and the NATO team needs to win the big fights that are coming our way. Look to see what's different, embrace the red, and continue on the CNO's journey to get real and to get better. Thank you all. God bless the United States, God bless Italy, and all of our NATO partners around the globe, and thank you for this opportunity. I will now read my orders. Buper's Order 0803. When directed by Reporting Senior, detach in May of 2023 and report to the Office of Chief of Naval Operations as Chief of Staff for Director, Supply, Ordnance, and Logistics Operations.